Welcome to another winter wonderland here at Tyne Valley Motorhomes, as we've got snow this morning, and this is the handover of an Accordo 135. So as we start the walk round on the driver's side of the vehicle first, the first point you get to, which is opened by this little key, the smallest one of the lot, is your wheel filler for your fresh water. So grab yourself a hose pipe and some hose pipe connections, either a collapsible hose or a normal hose, carry it on board and simply fill the vehicle with fresh water here. And below you've got your dump for your fresh water, so if you were draining it down in the winter or you weren't using the vehicle for a couple of weeks, you can let out your fresh water by opening the valve and draining off that fresh water that's on board. Moving on, we've got your cassette toilet, so this is where the tri-mark key then comes in and you can open. So push in, make sure that the blade's not engaged, because I'll show you that inside, because if it was engaged then the cassette won't come out. And to get the cassette out, pop your hand underneath the orange handle and slide the cassette free of the vehicle. Got a handle there, so when it's full you can drag it to your waste disposal point, which is normally beside your toilet block. And then to empty, all you need to do is remove the grey cap, press the orange button, tip out the content of the cassette. Once you've tipped it out, there's normally a tap, so you put some water in here and give it a rinse and tip out again. And then if you're using the green aqua chem or the blue aqua chem in the liquid form, a cap full of the liquid, which is 120 ml into here, and it's good to go back into the van. Or if you're using the tablets, you can put a pint of water in here and a tablet, which is in the cellophane sachet format, or you can just put a pint of water, or put in completely dry, empty. Flush a pint of water in and then open the blade on the toilet, which I'll show you from inside, and drop a tablet down, and that'll break up into the liquid. Same as the blue, but this is grey, so this is dirty water drain off tap. So once you've finished your stay on site, you'll want to drain off your dirty water so that you're not carrying excess weight around with you. And again, in the winter, that needs to be fully drained down so no water freezes any tanks or pipe work and causes any severe damage. On the back of the vehicle, you've got your high level brake light, your rear view and reverse camera, and then if you were to fit a bike rack, these are the bars where the back panel's been strengthened to take the added weight of two bikes. That's just the alarm working, which this customer's had added. They don't come as standard, but you do have storage underneath. Your boiler's in that corner. I'll talk more about your boiler once on board. You've got your stay here, which you can put onto. If you just drop the door down slightly, the stay just goes into this metal hook there, and you can load the vehicle. Got storage under here, and as you can see, you've got tethering points on both sides, but I'll show you because the lounge folds up and you can use it as a loading area. And then coming round to the driver's side of the vehicle, again using your tri-mark key, this is your battery locker. So in here you've got your leisure battery and you've got your hookup point. So when you arrive on site, the first thing you'll want to probably do is hook the vehicle up. So you get your hooker blade, lift the collar, hook the motorhome up first, slot the wire behind the door just so that you can then shut the door, and then you'll hook your sight point up, and do it in reverse order when unhooking, as you wouldn't want to walk around with a live lead in the wet. Here my awning, which will show you if, again, this doesn't come standard, but will show if you are having these fitted on collection. Two Dometic Fridge vents, and then push the locks in and you'll be able to release the door. And in here you can fit two 6 kilogram propane bottles. So the straps behind, which you'll want to strap the bottle in, stand it in the cradle, And to connect the pigtail, it's a left hand thread, so opposite threads with it being gas. This one's a hand tightened pigtail. You can get both. You can get the hand tighten, or you can get the ones that you need to nip up with a spanner. This one's a hand tighten one. So left hand thread, hand tighten, and then turn on and off at the top of the bottle. Always make sure the bottle's strapped in and turned off before you do start travelling, just as it's safer when you're on the road. And you can lock that. Fuel on the vehicle is on the passenger side. It opens with the main key and you can fill with diesel. And then below, because it's a new diesel engine, it does have the AdBlue. So the AdBlue is a 19 litre tank and will do 5,000 mile on AdBlue. But at 4,000 mile you'll get a light to say that you need to start refueling the AdBlue system, which you can then buy at the pump like the wagons, or buy in the drums, and your light will come on between your temperature and your fuel gauge. There's two lights. The lower light is the AdBlue light. The light above is the DPF light, which is just a diesel particle filter. Just means it needs a good blast in a higher gear just to clear that filter of all the carbon deposits. Tyre pressures, 5 bar, which is 72.3 on the front, and 5.5 on the back, which is 79.5. Engine batteries underneath the floor, so if you ever want to charge it, you've got to lift this cover or replace it. The engine battery comes out through the cab floor. And underneath the seat you've got a jack and a brace and a tow knife in the toolkit. Bonnet release is on the side of the dashboard. All your fluids to the left hand side, so you've got screen wash. This cover lifts off and you can fill your power steering fluid and your coolant. You've got your brake fluid, your oil filler and your oil dipstick for checking your levels, your paint code 210 for the blank or white, an earth for giving or receiving a jump start, and then just beside the air filter and the headlight, if you put your key in and just lift up here, this little cover, there's a positive terminal for giving or receiving a jump start. Then you do have your weight plate, so 3.3 ton gross vehicle weight. If you were to put a tow bar on, you can tow up to 3.5 ton legally. And then you've got front and back axle weights, and then finally your build number on the bottom, which is your unique number issued by Elddis. So if you ever need parts or a warranty claim, give us that number and then we'll be able to relate that back to Elddis. So on board the vehicle, this is your main 12 volt control panel. So if you're hooked up, you will have access to 230 volts, so your mains 3-pin sockets on board will work. If not, you will just have 12 volt off your leisure battery. So this button here is your master button, so it turns the vehicle on and off on either 12 volt or 230 volt. And then underneath it, you've got your master switch for your lights, which are all individually switched around the vehicle. You've got your awning light, which is the light on the outside of the vehicle. And you've got your pump, so you can turn your pump on should you have enough water on board. This will pressurize the water through the taps, toilet and shower. But also make sure that your boiler is in the closed position, because if you do turn your pump on and it's open, the water will just run straight out once you open the tap on the hot side underneath the vehicle. Then you've got a scale here which shows you the level of your leisure battery and your fresh water. So there we've probably got about 30 litres of fresh water on board. So it goes green, orange and red. Once you get to the red, it is then time to refill your water. And you've got your entrance light here, which is just the light in the front lounge. Underneath, this is your wheel heating and hot water panel. So you've got hot water at the top, heating at the bottom. So you would press the hot water and it'll go through frost start, which is a snowflake, which is approximately 5 degrees. One wiggly line is 750 watts of mains electric. 2 wiggly lines is 1500 watts of mains 230 volt electric. So if you're on a site, you would probably just use 2 kilowatts, depending on the amperage the site gives you, to heat your water, because you wouldn't want to waste your gas. You've paid your site fees after all. You've got gas on its own. If you're wild camping and you didn't have any other source available, you'd have to heat your water off gas. And then you've got gas plus 750 watts of electric, which is known as mixture 1. And then you've got gas and 1500 watts of electric, which is known as mixture 2. So if you're in desperate need of hot water, you can have both sources on together, which will drastically reduce the time it takes to heat your water. And then below you've got your heating. So starting with your heating, 750 watts, which is 1 wiggly line. 1500 watts, which is 2 wavy lines. 3 kilowatts, which is 3 wiggly lines, which is all on mains power. So if you're on a site, you would use you'd probably use 2 kilowatts. On the bigger sites, you may be able to use 3 kilowatts, but just be careful that it doesn't trip the vehicle out or trip the site, as 3 kilowatts is quite a lot. And then you've got gas on its own, which you'd use when you were wild camping and didn't have any other source available apart from gas. You've got gas plus 1500 watts of electric, which is known as mixture 2, like I said before. So if you're in desperate need of heating, you'd have it on this source, more so in the winter, or if you're in a colder country, you can put both sources on together, which will reduce the time it takes to heat the vehicle. So that should heat the vehicle in about 10 minutes. And then you've got the plus and the minus. Right up here is 30 degrees, in the middle there is about 15. And then you can turn it all the way down to these two. So you've got frost start, which is 5 degrees, nighttime mode, which is approximately 15 degrees, and then you can adjust your temperature from the scale. Always turn this off like so by just pressing until it finishes. There's no symbols on this screen here. Wait until the fans fall silent before you turn this button off here, otherwise there is a chance you can just interrupt the cycle of the boiler and it'll fail, and you'll get an exclamation mark down the side here. So whatever's failed, you would press, say it was the heating that you had the exclamation mark down here, press the heating and the plus button together, press and hold until that eliminated, and then you'll be able to select the heating and hot water system again. In the kitchen area, you've got 3 lit gas rings. Allow these to cool before you do put the hob top down, because if you do put it down too prematurely when it's hot, the glass can shatter and you don't want that. And below you've got an oven. Oven and a grill above. You may just want to remove your grill pan and oven shelves while you're travelling, because they do cause a little bit of vibration, or top tip is to wrap them up in tea towels. That'll save them from rattling when on the road. Above you do have your microwave, which is an 800 watt mains power microwave, so you've got to be hooked up for this to work. Little catches just underneath the cabinets here, and you do have your plug for your microwave, so if you've ever got to isolate it, you can unplug it and turn it off, or if you've ever got to remove it, you can remove it as well. Cups, plate racks and some more storage. Got your light switch and 2 230 volt sockets for a kettle and a toaster. Storage drawers, and then you've got some shelves. Push the catches in to put the travel catches on the door. Underneath the oven and grill you do have your cutlery drawer, as well as some more storage for some utensils and various other bits and pieces. And then underneath the storage, 3 gas taps. These are mainly for when the vehicle is annually habitation serviced. But if you've got any problems with gas, turn the bottle off to be safe, but you can isolate each individual appliance from here. But like I say, these are mainly for when it gets its annual gas test, part of its habitation service, to check that the gas is working correctly. More storage under here for pots and pans. Underneath the fridge, you do have the location of your fuse board. So you've got all your fuses on 12 volt at the bottom, so do carry some spare blade fuses with you. They are just the standard ones, just in case a fuse does blow, you can replenish the fuse. And you've also got a little rocker switch just at the bottom of the board, which is your tank heaters, so you can turn that on if it's going to potentially freeze overnight and the temperatures are to drop. That'll put current through your water to stop the water in the tanks below bolted onto the chassis from freezing. If you are leaving it parked up, we do recommend you drain it down, so don't leave that on and think it's going to save it. That's only for when you're going to use the vehicle with water in and it's going to freeze. You've got all your RCDs and MCBs on mains power, so you can trip the vehicle out to check that you are receiving mains power if you ever think you're not, and work out if it's the motorhome or if it's the site. Or if you do trip the vehicle out, you can reset it here to get your power back on. Above you've got your Dometic fridge. So to work your fridge, it's a 3-way. So at the top here is off. If you're on a site or you are pre-chilling it at home, you turn it down to mains power, which will act like a household fridge on 230 volt. So if you're on a site, you don't want to waste your gas, you've paid for your electric, you'll use their electric. Or if you're at home and you're pre-chilling it a few days before you go away, you can put it on electric and then chuck your shopping in the night before. And then when you are ready to travel and you've pre-chilled, if you've been to one site and you're moving to a next, or you've been pre-chilled at home and you're driving to your site, you can put on a battery, which is this setting here, which what that does is basically it turns the fridge into a cool box. So the temperature it was at when it departed, so when you left home or when you left your site, it'll be the temperature it is when you arrive on your next site to hook back up, or if you're going onto gas. So it'll just keep your shopper nice and fresh until you either go back onto hookup or you turn all the way down to gas if you're wild camping. This is your temperature. You push that in, push the piezo ignition in, and you wait for this orange band to slip into the green and then let go, and then that is lit on gas. You've got a travel catch here, so you can put the travel catch on so that the door doesn't open when you're driving. And when pre-chilling, always have the temperature at full. Once you put your shopping in, just turn it down, because the temperature on full is enough to freeze the fridge when you have your shopping in. When you're not using it, if you take everything out, give it a wipe out, and then if you just pull this catch back to there, it stops the door from shutting fully on itself, and it'll allow air circulation in and out the fridge and the freezer to stop mold and bacteria and funny smells from forming in the fridge. In the wardrobe, obviously you've got your carb mats, your carpets, but you also do have your TV aerial. So in the wardrobe area, you've got your hanging rail, you've got the location of where your TV aerial is, which is a standard fit from Elddis. So if you were struggling to get a TV signal, if you just loosen the nut off, push the stem up, and then you can use the toggle to direct the aerial on the roof. But the best tip is to look where the other motorhomes and caravans on your site are pointing, and then before travelling you always want to make sure it's pulled in and that this nut is securely fastened so that the wind doesn't get underneath the aerial and cause any damage. And then at the back you've got your amplifier. So this little wheel on this side here, you can turn so you can boost the signal, or if it's pixelating and it's on full, just turn it down so you get a perfect picture with the amplifier. These two are customers options, so they don't come as standard. So we have fitted a solar panel. So this is the MTTP dual solar panel charging controller unit. So it just tells you what it's bringing in and where the battery levels are at. And then you've got a 4G Wi-Fi system again, which is to this customer's requirements. We fitted this, it doesn't come standard on the product from Elddis. So if you haven't ordered this, forget about this, as it's not on your vehicle. But you turn it on from the front. You need to put a SIM in. At present it's got a pay-as-you-go SIM, but you've got to set up a plan with Smarty, I think it is, to top that SIM up, or you can take that SIM out and you can just get your own SIM from whoever you've got your phones with, get a pay monthly one, a rolling contract, and it'll always have power on it, always have data on it even, should I say, but it is a data only SIM card that you need. But to connect, you turn it on, you need to look for Hawaii on your devices, take the back off, SIM's underneath the battery, so you just lift the battery out and you've got a Wi-Fi key here to pop into your device so that you can connect to it. And then it'll tell you on the front how many devices are connecting or connected even to this device at any one time. But you do have a mast on the roof which brings in better signal for this than your phone, as it's 10 times stronger on the roof. So in the back rear corner of the driver's side of the vehicle is where you'll find the location for your wheel underslung water heater. So your water heater heats 10 litres of water at any one time. So you've got 10 litres of water that'll come through your hot side when the water's on. In the winter you've got to drain it off because you don't want the water to freeze if we suffer from freezing overnight or a hard frost. And to do so you need to use the yellow valve at the back, which is known as your winter drain down valve, and turn it to the front of the vehicle. You'd do that without the pump on, and you'd leave it pointing to the front of the vehicle during the time you're not using the vehicle. When you come back to use the motorhome, what you'll have to do is you'll have to purge the water back through the system. So you need to shut this tap here. You'll need to shut your fresh and your waste, because when you open your boiler, that's one point of the water open. You want to eliminate all the water, so you would have opened your fresh and your waste, and you would have opened all your taps within the vehicle. So you'd shut all your taps within the vehicle, shut your boiler, shut your fresh and your waste, fill the vehicle with water, put your control panel on and turn your pump on. Go to the cold side of the tap first, you'll get a pressurised flow of cold water. Go to the hot side, it'll cough, splutter, make all sorts of noises. And all that's doing is it's pressurising the water through this boiler here by transferring it from the fresh water tank underneath the chassis 10 litres into here, pushing all the air that's accumulated in there out the tap until you get a free flow of water from the hot side of the tap. Then you know that your system is primed, and then you'd follow by doing the shower and the hand basin, and then your system's primed for the season. But remember, drain down in the winter because it's not covered under warranty. It's the customer's responsibility to drain the vehicle off, and it's a very costly mistake if you don't. And all you need to do is turn that tap to the front and then open all your other water sources. What you can do on this model is, as it's got the back tailgate little door here, you can use this as putting your bikes in and other bits and pieces, so you can use it as a van as such. But if you take your cushions off and then lift your base of your sofa up, there's two little clips here. You need to push them in, drop this down, just push it along slightly so it lies flush, and then you do have a clip in the top corner where you can fasten it, so that's not going to move when you travel, and you can tie. So there's two this side, there's two underneath this sofa as well, and you can put your bikes in, an awning. If you've been to IKEA, anywhere, you can put bits and pieces in the back of the vehicle and tie it down and use it as a loading space. In the washroom area, you've got your toilet, so making sure that the pump is on to give you a pressurized flow of water. You can then press this blue button on the top of the toilet and you'll get your flush. So always flush the toilet first, which keeps the seal between the toilet and the cassette lubricated. And then what you need to do is you need to open the blade, which is this grey lever here. So slide it towards you. It opens the mechanism on the top of the cassette, and then everything will go into the cassette. Flush after use, and then push back to the left, so push it away from you, and that'll shut the blade, which then means when the cassette is full, you'll be able to get the cassette out because the mechanism isn't engaged, and you'll get a light on here which indicates that the cassette is full. Got a toilet roll holder, toiletry cabinet, curtain for your shower screen which will cover the toilet when showering in the vehicle, shower head. Do remove the shower head from the hose when winterizing because you don't want any water to sit in here, and let this pipe lie in the shower tray with the mixer taps open. Push plug on here. And then you have got hot water coming through there. So to make the third additional bed up on the 135 Accordo, you've got to spin the seat and then push the seat as far into the cab as you possibly can. Obviously remove your table, which is just two wing nuts here, and then slide this out. Pop your infill cushion onto here, like so. Another little infill cushion goes on the seat just to keep everything level as the seat slopes back. And then you do need your memory foam mattress topper, just goes on here. Like so, and forms the bed. You can also remove this section and push it further back so you get a little bit more leg space or head space, whichever way you're sleeping, as that cushion is quite a thick cushion. If you remove that, you will get the extra length on the bed. So now in the cab, to the right of the driver's seat, you do have your handbrake, and then on the door you have driver and passenger electric windows, followed by a selector for your mirror where you can adjust your electrically operated mirror adjustment. So you've got top and the bottom being the blind spot, but they do just pull in when you want to fold them in. Pinch and slide, and you've got Remus cab blinds on both driver and passenger door, and then on the windscreen locate the little locator in the top, like so, and then they'll clip together and hold together like so. Down to the right you've got your mode button, which goes through the date and time and so on through the little screen here. But you've got headlight adjustment, rear fog lights, and turns your start stop off and on if you don't want it on, but the start stop will only work if the battery's got enough charge in it. This one has got a Vodafone category 1 alarm on, not standard, doesn't come on the standard product from Elddis. This is what a customer's opted for, so if you're watching this video and you're purchasing or buying a Accordo 135, if you haven't asked for one, it's not going to be on the vehicle. Wipers, automatic lights, so you just leave them on automatic, and you've got your indicators. You can turn them off here and then put them on, but just leave them on auto, they'll do their own thing. Answer and decline a call. You can skip through your media tracks through USB or Bluetooth audio, radio stations or contacts through the little scroll. Mute and volume. Cruise control turns on, push up and hold to speed up, pull down to slow down. Cancel it on the end and resume it to the last speed that was set on the cruise control. Or you can go down to speed limiter, go up slowly, goes up in 1s, push and hold goes up in 5s, and it tells you just under here what the speed limiter is set to. If you feather the throttle, it will not go over that until you floor the accelerator, and it will override the speed limiter just as a safety precaution. 6-speed manual gearbox with lift the collar into reverse, but you've got your rear view camera that's on all the time, as well as when in reverse, like so. Asr Off is just anti-slip relief, so it's just another word for traction control, so you can turn it off should you be struggling to find traction on wet grass or a gravel pitch. Hazards, locks the cab, and heated mirrors. USB for charging and 12-volt charging point. USB underneath for the radio, and you've got cup holders. On this side of the dial, so the outer side of the left dial, is your temperature, so you can pick your temperature that you want your cab air conditioning to be, and you've got 1 to 4 being the fan speed. It must be on at least 1 or more for the aircon to work, which is this button here. And then on the right outer dial you've got your distribution, so face, feet, screen, and whether you're bringing fresh air in or you're recirculating air within the vehicle. Radio is FM, AM and DAB, so you turn on here, and this is your volume. Press 1 to 6 to save your favourite radio stations, and it does have FM linking, so if you can't find DAB it'll switch over to FM like it has here, but it is on DAB as you can see. Like I say, 1 to 6 to save your favourite channels. Presets, you've got media, which is USB or Bluetooth audio, and then to connect your phone you just press phone. Connect the phone, you press enter, and you want to find my car on your device. Press pair. Then it'll ask you if you want to download your contacts. Just press allow and it'll download the contacts into the vehicle so that you can scroll through them and it'll come up with who's ringing just instead of just a number. You've got menu here, so you can go into menus of your systems, Bluetooth audio, all your bass, your fader, your temp and stuff in here, but that's all explained in the handbooks of the vehicle.